for those watching or listening in, I'm grateful to be here with Scott Roethle of lifeloghealth.com. He's going to talk a little bit more. We're going to be exploring a little bit more of wearable technology, how it's advancing, and learn a little bit more about Scott and some of the ways he's scaling his career. Well, welcome, Scott, to the show. We're really grateful that you're here today.
Thank you, Lance. Thanks for having me.
Well, do you mind giving us just a glimpse into your personal life, and we'll start off with that?
Sure, I'd love to. I live in Kansas. I am married to a lovely wife, Alana, for 14 years now. We had our anniversary last week. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And we have 4 children, 2 boys that are 8 and 9, and 2 girls that are 4 and 6. So running around.
2 and 2.
Yep, 2 and 2. So very busy running around and trying to keep a balanced and sane life.
Oh,
not too bad, but they're not teenagers, so we'll see. I work full-time as a private practice anesthesiologist in the Kansas City metro area. I work at a couple of hospitals mainly, and I've been doing this here for about 7 years, and I've done some executive leadership type roles with the group and in hospital management, group management, societies, and I'm recently kind of jumped into some other business opportunities and health and wellness, and particularly in the wearable market. So.
Okay, and I want to get into that. Before we get into that, I want to ask you just a question about your current profession, being a part of an anesthesiologist group. What would you say is something in your profession that people don't traditionally know about anesthesiology?
Well, we do a lot more than just put people to sleep. I mean, and
that's what everybody thinks about.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly what they think we do. And so it's a lot more than that. We keep you alive while somebody is cutting you open and doing things to your insides. So there's a lot more to it than just putting people.
Not to get too graphic, but yeah.
Exactly. So, but it's very involved, and there are a lot of different models in which we practice, and we're lucky to practice in a care team model, and so we use a lot of anesthetists that we work with, and are able to take care of a lot of patients doing a lot of different things besides just putting you to sleep. So it's a very wide-ranging. It's become an area of medicine that we're calling perioperative medicine now, and that is sort of a paradigm shift in the anesthesia world.
How so?
Well, we're kind of trying to manage patients a little bit more than just during that surgical period of time. So as soon as a patient is decided to be operable or to have a procedure, we're trying to help manage the care of that patient for a little bit longer and trying to optimize their health and wellness before, during, and after the procedure as well, trying to help decrease complications, decreased length of stay, and all that also helps with cost containment, patient satisfaction. So a wide range of things involving perioperative medicine, more than just the anesthesia.
Do you like what you do?
I do. Very much like what I do. It's a fun, challenging job. We do lots of different things. I have gotten a little more and more frustrated with the healthcare industry and our system that we've devised. It beyond regulation and payment and all the complexities of that, we tend to kind of work within what I would call a sick care model, and that's where we tend to ignore or make second, kind of put it down the list of importance, the preventative and the wellness part of health, and tend to just take care of chronic conditions and medications and Band-Aids and fix things, as opposed to helping people to live really well, live better, take care of themselves their whole life, and really just have a nice, healthy, sustainable wellness to them. And so that's what I'm trying to get into a little bit more, trying to help encourage that in a lot of different ways from a population health standpoint, but taking baby steps and seeing what we can do in that regard. Okay.
So I want to talk a little bit about the wearable, just to get a little bit more into learning a little bit about you. What's something that you want people to know about you that maybe a lot of people don't get to know about Scott?
Well, I tend to be pretty quiet usually, so just being on a webinar is something that most people wouldn't tend to expect from me. But I can be a little more outgoing than most people would anticipate. But just kind of a little bit more willing to step out of the box and kind of do something different or change course. I think that would be one thing that most people don't see too often on a daily basis. They don't really want an anesthesiologist that's a risk taker. So.
Right. A question that I'm just curious about. Has there been a time looking back where you feel like you've had a steep failure as a doctor that's provided some real lessons that you've had to learn as a doctor?
Well, in general, there are errors or complications or deaths or things that you just can't fix. And there are a handful of those instances that I can pick out and remember that not necessarily that anyone did anything wrong or a complicated case where maybe you could have done something differently or just something that was difficult to manage. It's called practicing medicine for a reason. Unfortunately, it's not easy. I heard that, there's a joke about a mechanic who, said, "Hey, why does it cost so much to have surgery? I can do all the same stuff on a motorcycle." And the surgeon said, "Well, try doing all that with the engine running." And so, it's kind of hard to do, kind of hard to take care of a real living patient. There are a lot of dynamics. And so
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. And people are so grateful, so very, very grateful. I don't know if you get told enough how grateful people are for what you do. So thank you. Well, I wanted to talk about, a time, kind of when your transition, you talk about how you have this interest in wellness, but now you're moving into actually marketing a wellness product, something that's focused on preventative care. I mean, when did this happen? When did you decide, okay, I'm going to do this?
Well, I was in a group last year, right around this time, and we had been talking a little bit about the wearables and some of the new devices and some of the information and data that people were using, but that really wasn't very helpful or functional. And at that point, the wearables were really only tracking blood pressure, or they weren't tracking blood pressure. They were only really tracking heart rate and steps and really basic things. And most people, it might be some interesting information, calorie counting, but it's not really giving them much prescriptive data or anything that they can use to help in the grand scheme of things. And so we were talking in this group. It was kind of a healthcare focus group and trying to brainstorm some ways of making wearables or developing wearables where it's more beneficial. Okay. And so I came across the Hilo device, which is a brand new wearable that just launched fall of last year. And we developed it, and it's being used now. And I think we sold about 300,000 devices, and we just came out with our second device, the Hilo LX. So the prototype ran its course. We updated it, completely upgraded it, and it's the only device, the only wearable that'll monitor blood pressure on a ambulatory wristband. So it's a smart band. It does blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory rate. It'll count your steps and distance. It analyzes your sleep, tells your mood and energy, and then it can do a single lead EKG on your wrist for abnormality. And so it's a very robust. It's the only device that does all of these things. You don't have to do anything for it to monitor. It's connected by a Bluetooth to a smartphone. And the other keys with the app, it's a WeCare app. It has shareability and viewability remotely. So you can share the data with family or friends or caregivers or healthcare practitioners, a wellness coach. We can integrate with wellness platforms, corporate wellness platforms, medical record type systems where they can analyze your data into wellness centers, senior living centers, large healthcare systems, insurance, self-insured corporate wellness programs, all sorts of things. There are lots of different healthcare platforms out there, all cloud-based, and So this data can be mined from the device and utilized to help kind of guide you in wellness and treatment or therapy or lifestyle changes. So just different all around wellness perspective as opposed to just counting your heart rate or steps.
It's remarkable that technology has advanced as it has. And I'd imagine that on the occasion you'll get a skeptic that will say, well, if it can send all this information to all these different places, that it could be hacked. Do you ever have that concern surface?
We do, and just like every system anywhere, they can all be hacked, and security is very important. It is a HIPAA compliant system where the security is made. It has to be shared and agreed upon by both parties, and the device is secure, the data is secure. Anything that's kept is non-identifiable unless it's shared directly from you and somebody that you specify. That being said, people can hack into the Department of Defense and Yahoo and
Sure.
Chase Bank, and we can do everything and anything we can, but nothing's 100%, unfortunately.
So Scott, if someone is to use this and then want something to go to their healthcare provider, do they go to a website to find some of these metrics, or do they have to have the app? I mean, how does it work on the opposite end with the doctor?
Sure. Well, you have an app, and it sort of would depend on your individual provider what kind of system they want to set up. You'll probably come across some physicians that don't want to get the data on a regular basis and might just want to view it when you come in for a visit.
Sure.
There are others where they might want to utilize the Medicare Chronic Care Management or CCM program, where they can actually get reimbursed for remote telehealth or kind of monitoring somebody from afar, where they don't have to come into the office. So you can do a monthly charge
nice.
For helping to analyze and look at their information, maybe make some changes or suggestions, and they can actually charge Medicare for that. So there's an opportunity to do that way. And then also you could just open up the app, log in, and say on a monthly basis, you just email your blood pressure data to your physician. Or you could take it in with you at your visit. So a lot of different ways. The app has lots of different functionality. And as I mentioned, the company, World Global Network, we've been around only for about 6 to 9 months selling the device. And the functionality, the data analytics, all that's going to grow as we get more and more users and more information to kind of analyze all the numbers and make changes for people. And the same thing with LifeLog Health. As we implement into more large systems, that data is going to become more and more useful to kind of make it a two-way interface.
That's great, Scott. I'm wondering who the target audience has been based on those who have purchased so far. Who would you say has been the average purchaser of
Currently, the average purchaser is people like you and me. Anyone is being sold a direct sales platform. World Global Network will have individual independent distributors who are willing and able to refer other people, share the device with others, and if somebody else wants to do that, they can. And so that's the way it's been sold so far, and it's been very successful in a short amount of time with a lot of people getting on board.
No, it sounds
if you can imagine all the people that bought Fitbits in their first year, they didn't sell more than 20 or 30,000. Within our first 6 months, we sold over 200,000 of these. So the functionality is much greater than anything else out there, and the ability for anybody, and it can be anyone from a college student, blue collar worker, grandma, the way up to professionals like physicians like myself. Anyone can sell these to anyone and make money or side income on it. So that's one of the benefits of the whole program. If anyone got paid for selling or referring others to a Fitbit, there probably would have been a lot more sold a lot quicker, just like you're seeing with the Hilo. But the market, beyond that, right now, and this is what we're trying to do with LifeLog Health, is utilize it into larger systems. So the market is really wide open. Anyone can use this for one reason or another. But the areas that I see the biggest benefit are going to be aging in place, seniors, independent living, people that might live alone, because the device has the ability to give alerts for abnormal values, and it has a panic button that you can push to send out an alert to people. So the senior citizens, elderly patients, people that are living alone, even kids that might walk to school, you can think of lots of different functionality for that panic button. But wellness programs, corporate wellness programs are another big one, another big market that we're seeing. And then just anyone with a chronic condition, blood pressure, anyone that has a high blood pressure, diabetes. The device is going to come out later this year with the ability to monitor estimated blood glucose without having to do a finger stick. So that is a huge change in diabetes management right there.
Huge.
It's not a medical device that's going to replace finger prick, but if you can wear a little watch, a little device on your wrist, and you're going to be able to get glucose estimation on a regular basis, you can follow that a lot better than somebody who's probably not even following their glucose right now if they're type 2 diabetic on some oral medication. So there's really a wide range of population that can benefit from using a device like this.
Now, is this waterproof?
Yeah, it's water resistant, and I just typically take it off. Our new version that just came out now. We just started shipping our LX version 2 this week, and so it's water resistant. Don't swim with it, but you can get it wet.
Okay, I was just thinking about kids and summertime and hoses and
hose would be okay. Pool probably not.
Sure. So where do how do you see your career advancing? Are you looking to transition to where you're doing, mainly sales of the medical device? I mean, how do you see yourself scaling?
Well, I'm not a salesperson. That's about the last thing in the world I would ever call myself, but I've sort of fallen into that right now a little bit. I want to help as many people as I can one way or another, and I can see that being in health and wellness, helping to make lifestyle changes. Building a business is also a little bit of a way to give back and help other people financially. If I can help show other people how to make a difference or build a business or take some steps to achieving their dream in one way or another, that's why I went into medicine in the first place, is to help other people and make a difference. And so if I can do that, I always look bigger scale. So that's, I try to find the biggest bang for my buck, but I kind of want to make a big difference, and trying to help make our population more healthy would be the best way to do that for me.
Fantastic. I admire you for doing that. And so much of what I'm saying is that you want to influence wellness. You want to influence people to look outside of themselves, to help out and to lift other people. I think preventative care is fantastic. I personally promote eating healthy and promote fitness, and that's only going to increase the quality of life. And that's really what you're looking at, is the best interest of people as it relates to their quality of life.
Exactly.
So I appreciate that. Now, I'm wondering, for doctors that are listening in, for people in healthcare, maybe somebody that's just acquainted with you or is just interested in learning about wearables, what would be some of the next steps for them if they decided, hey, I'd really like to join this cause and to represent not so much a medical device, but this wearable technology that's disrupting the healthcare environment?
Sure. Well, it's wide open. Like I said, we just launched, so the timing is perfect. The first device, we worked out the kinks, and the LX is out now. So we've upgraded the technology, the manufacturing, everything's bigger and better and brighter. And so the best way to get involved, if you want to be a customer, simple. You can go to my website and order that, drscott.worldgn.com. And that'll be in the notes. But the other opportunities are really you can jump into this as an opportunity to help other people and to build your own financial future, either real small, just do it a little bit here or there, or big time in trying to get it into your whole entire medical practice or your whole entire corporate wellness center. And you can do that yourself and actually benefit from it financially. And if you are interested in that, I can help you. I can show you how to do that, make a difference for yourself and lots of other people. And that's what we do at World Global Network. We help build a team. We help show other people how to do it and how to make a difference with using a device that makes a difference. So, just think if you could help everyone in your company or everyone in your practice, and then also you are making an income off of that. It's a pretty big deal.
Absolutely. And I can see for a lot of doctors, I talk with a lot of doctors that say, hey, I have a lot of restraints as a doctor. It's hard for me to feel like I can really innovate and create. But this gives them a space. This gives them a vehicle, a platform, if you will, where they can scale their influence. They can be innovative. They can create. And so help us understand, if you wouldn't mind unpacking a couple of next steps for doctors who want to get involved with this in terms of, okay, so you make that decision. I mean, how does a person start?
Sure. Well, there are a lot of options out there, and I think you just have to sort of decide for yourself and your practice what's the best way, what route do you want to take. And that's something that is, I can talk with them personally, and we need to sort of kind of work through that a little bit about how they would see themselves and their practice fitting into it. But the next steps, I mean, you just need to understand the basics of the device. You don't have to be able to explain how every little part and piece works. It's light sensing technology. It's photoplethysmography, and there are high-level algorithms in it. All the devices use some level of similar technology with Apple Watch and Samsung and Fitbit and all those. This one is different, more advanced, but it really, you just have to understand the benefits of it, and you start telling people what to do, how to use it, and how it's going to help make them better. And so the next steps would be just to get with me, or if you know another World Global Network independent distributor or Helo rep, get with them, and we can easily show you the benefits and how to get started. Like I said, a lot of different implementation methods and options and how to do it. Just sort of depends on the individual and the practitioner and what they want to do. But it really just works off of referrals, affiliate based. And if you have patients in your practice that you want to refer them, you can just send them to a simple website to order, and it's really, really easy.
Great. I think easy makes it scalable for sure.
It is very easy.
I want to get into a little bit more of you. I mean, you're so accomplished and driven. What would you attribute? What are some of the personal habits day in and day out that you'd attribute your success to? Well,
I attribute my success to God, honestly. It's all because of Him and the gifts He's given me and the way that I've been able to utilize them. I've always worked extremely hard at whatever I do. I don't tend to, average isn't usually good enough. And so I always go the extra mile, do more, shoot for the stars. And just always trying to learn more, do more, be more, even learning from failures and growing. It is important. I think you learn more from a failure than you do from easy successes. And I tell my kids that sometimes that you don't want to fail. It's never fun to be wrong or do something bad or have a failure. But I think you learn more that way, and it's a growing experience. And if you can welcome it in that way, then I think it is it's a good way to look at it. It's not fun, but it's a growth opportunity.
Yeah.
I just have that mentality in everything. Work hard, do your best, and be your best, and always keep growing.
Well said. And kind of what I take from what you said, Scott, is that you almost want to fail fast so you can have a platform to stand on that can springboard you forward. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say. I think, yeah, and I know for me, anytime if I pause and look back on big failures, usually the best successes or the most growth come shortly after those really big failures, and even disasters. Sometimes the outcome is better, way better than you had imagined, even if that failure hadn't happened. So, that's not because of anything that I do. It's all, that's all God, and having faith and working through things.
I appreciate you mentioning that and giving credit where credit truly is due. Well, I want to just ask one more question, if I may.
Sure.
What would you consider 3 absolute truths to being successful and being fulfilled in life?
Well, I'd say successful and fulfilled are 2 different things, or a matter of perspective.
Okay, fair enough.
I think success might be an outward from somebody else's perspective, and fulfilled would be internal. But fulfilled for me, it's with my family, and the legacy and raising good kids, and making them appreciative and have a good heart. Doing as much as I can to help other people. And, that's why I like the Hilo, the World Global Network opportunity, and the wearable device to help other people make a difference. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be earth-changing or worldwide, but touching one person or helping change one person one day at a time is important. I think if you just start there, then it makes a difference.
Fantastic. Well, I hope that this interview can make a big difference. I know it's a small thing that we're doing here, just having a discussion and learning more about you and wearable technologies. But I really think that it has the potential to do a lot of good and to help a lot of other people who share that same desire to improve wellness throughout the nation. Now, is this just a product in the United States?
No, it's worldwide. We're in close to 200 countries around the world, and anywhere in the world you can get involved with the company as a distributor, a user, or a customer. It's all over.
Fantastic. Well, Scott, where can people learn a little bit more about you?
You can look on my LinkedIn or Facebook, Scott Roethle, MD, and my marketing website for the Hilo is drscott.hilo.life.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure to put that in the show notes. Thanks again so much for being on the show today. If you'll stay on for just a second afterward. And for our listeners, hope you have a great day. We'll connect with you soon.